Welcome back to my channel. So when I made this channel, it was supposed to be about health, wealth, and of course lifestyle. It was not supposed to be about politics, religion, because everyone is trying to be politically correct and avoid those topics. So I was like, let me blend in. Then I realized I cannot blend in because blending in would be ignoring certain topic. It's like waking up every morning, going out in the sun is shining, ignoring that the sun exists. My mother called me earlier and she mentioned about, my mother called me earlier and she talked about a shooting. She heard 14 kids died, one teacher. And I'm like, is she talking about some anniversary of the Sandy Hook that's coming up or something? So as soon as I hung up, I went to Google and I put in school shooting. And yet again, another shooting has occurred. 14 innocent kids, 14 innocent lives, and one teacher died in a school shooting by yet another 18-year-old callous animal that was raised by the same callous animal of a parent. How do you raise an animal? First of all, I just want to know, when will the law change, or when will the law start prosecuting those kids' parents the same way that they would prosecute the kids on murder? Because number one, you raised those kids. You knew exactly what the shooting in Buffalo was just a week ago, not even a week ago. And yet another one by a same 18-year-old child. And then you cannot cry mental health, because mental health does not, people with mental health does not hurt. People with mental health does not commit crime. So stop using the excuse of mental health. You have some ass of a politician that came and said, oh, we should arm the teachers with guns. If you research organization, the government is an organization, you'll realize how dysfunctional organizations are, how they're run by idiots. Now, let's say you arm the teachers with gun, right? Now you have these idiots that's going to know that the teachers have gun. What happened when the teacher put the gun in their pocketbook and they walked away and they're teaching on the blackboard, or they turn their back? How the hell is gun gonna solve? Why don't you send your kids in war zone? Send your kids to teachers, principals, and whoever work at the schools with guns. Send them in a war zone. Guns, I am just utterly sick and disgusted. Sick and disgusted that the solution to gun problem is not trying to lessen the amount of gun or who have guns, but is to add more guns per politicians. Just add more guns. Give teachers with guns. I know a lot of people that have guns that are extremely questionable. So why don't you give these teachers with guns, teachers that are hateful? Because we've seen on social media that two teachers, if you Google or search, two teachers were posting only slaves and animals wear muzzle. These are teachers. So arm these idiots with guns to go home to give to their kids, so their husband and hateful kids can have more guns. Just throw more guns in the environment to solve the solution. Now, can you imagine, can you famine these parents, these families of these 14 innocent kids from 2nd grade to 4th grade tonight? Can you feel, can you understand, can you empathize, can you sympathize with their pain? Can you see the pain that these people are facing tonight with their innocent kids' lives gone senselessly, brutally, callously by some animals of parents that raise these animals? Can you fathom that? Can you picture, just picture for a second, 14 kids died. Not all at once, back to back. Just picture the first kid that got shot. And you have these innocent kids behind the first kid that got shot, screaming because they know they were going to be next. How do you, as a parent, How do you as a parent that is pro-gun, how do you live with yourself? How do you keep finding excuse to bring more gun in America? Because it's only in America that this issue is going on. There's no other country that you have this gun problem, that people are being killed senselessly back to back to back. Only in America. And what do? They cry mental health. Because everything is not because you're callous, it's not because you're an animal, it's because of your mental health. And it's only certain people that get to cry mental health. Other people that commit crime, they're in animals. But only certain people that get to cry mental health. And then you have the Catholic Church. You have a lot of these politicians that are pro-life, trying to reverse Roe V and Wade, trying to take away a woman's right to abortion, You're trying to take away a woman's right to choose whether they want to have an abortion or not. But then you have these kids that are being born. And by the way, all these kids that commit these crimes should have been aborted. You have these kids that are being born into homes or parents that did not want them, unwanted. Most of them end up in foster home. What are you, as a politician or the Catholic Church, doing? And when you reverse Roe V and Wade, guess what? It's only black people and minority that suffer. Because the rich or your wife will find a way to get an abortion, even if you have to leave the country, because guess what? You can afford it. Do you actually care about a life? Do you care about the lives? Is it that you care about the lives of these unborn kids? And I can't even say that they're kids, because if they're not being conceived, they're not born yet. So do you really care about these supposedly life that is supposed to be? Why you think you want to choose to take away a woman's right to choose, or to reverse Roe V and Wade? Or is it because you have your power that you must exercise your power somehow? Is it because you're so determined, you're so hateful, you're so determined that you're going to punish black people and minority, because those are the ones that's going to suffer when you reverse Roe V and Wade? Roe V and Wade, excuse me. Those are the ones that's going to suffer. Because like I said, the rich and the politician, they will get their abortion. They will find ways to get abortion somehow, even if they have to leave the country. And I am just utterly disgusted. I am just utterly disgusted that you have parents that are trying to raise their kids, send them to school so they can become something, but not even in school these kids are not even safe. Not even in school these kids are not safe, because politicians refuse to protect. They refuse to do the duty that they were elected to do, and that was protect lives. That was protect building. That is to protect. You're not doing that. I have never been so close to tears as when I hear the news today, because when I picture these innocent kids from 2nd grade to 4th grade, kids, innocent kids, when I picture the look, the fear on these kids' face when that animal, that callous of a gunman that came in and took these kids' lives one by one. 14 kids, one teacher. 14 kids, one teacher. 18 years old. 18. This animal had a car. He had a gun. Where does he get a car? Where did he get a car? Where did he get a gun? He did not become a saint and then the devil overnight. His parents knew exactly the type of child they were raising. When you have kids and you refuse to parent your child, because if you decide to have a child, it's work. You have to learn to parent your child. I hate when parents send their kids to school and then you expect teachers to do everything. You do nothing at home. Simple homework, simple discipline, you refuse to do to your child. You leave it up to teachers to do everything. But yet, the teachers that you leave all your burden on, one died. One died today with 14 innocent lives. All these people that are pro-life, pro-choice. How do you live with yourself? How do you sleep tonight? The Catholic Church that is pro-life, when the Notre Dame burned down a couple years ago, how many seconds did it take to raise millions for a church? A building. A building. Millions. How many seconds? I won't even say minute. How many seconds did it take to raise millions? But yet, you have kids that are in foster homes. You have kids that are suffering. You have kids that are hungry. And where's your contribution? Jesus Christ did not go in a fancy church to get his words across. He walked the streets. He walked the streets to get his words across. He preached. He walks the streets. You look at the Notre Dame and all the fancy awnings and everything, the millions that it cost to build. Who are you trying to send a message to? Because it's certainly not Jesus, and you're certainly not preaching his words. What message are you trying to send across? What message are you preaching? Because you're certainly not preaching any word from the Bible. Because you're supposed to be humble. You're supposed to blend in with everyone, including the poor. So when you have these fancy churches, your fancy garment, you're raising millions to build back the Notre Dame. Millions within seconds. But then again, how many kids are being hungry? You telling these mothers, bring these kids to life. But when they bring them to life, who is there to help them? Who? Who is helping these mothers raise these kids? When these kids are hungry, who is helping them? There was a black kid that got arrested. Young kid, young. I don't remember how young he was, probably 11, 12. Because he went into a store to get chips because he was hungry. He was arrested. It was from a mother that could not feed him. He was coming from a home that there was no food. You're the same one that tell that mother, bring the kid here to suffer. So society can punish and shoot that kid? And then the politician, that ass that said to arm teachers with guns. Because that idiot brain and illiterate level is so illiterate that it is not, his brain is not as big as a freaking gnat. And that's a food fly. His brain doesn't comprehend as much as a dog. Well, no, that's giving too much credit, because dogs are very smart. Because this guy have not thought about the words that comes out of his mouth before he spills shit out of his mouth. Give these teachers gun. Okay. You're going to get, where are they going to do? Put the gun on their, where are they going to keep the gun? Let's say they keep the gun on them, right? You have these idiot kids that are doing these shooting, or these animals, excuse me, that are doing these shooting. They know the teachers are armed with gun. Do you not think they're going to pay attention when the teacher turn her back and is distracted, whether that's writing on the blackboard or paying attention to kid, and shoot that kid, shoot the teachers first and then do his rest? How is arming teachers with guns the solution? How is put more guns in the system the solution? You're spending millions making guns, sending guns to other country, but no one is trying to say, well, maybe we should try to eliminate guns. The only person that belongs with gun is law enforcement. Because the only use of a gun is to kill or be killed. Which one are you? Which one do you want to be? I am just sick to my stomach. I am sick to my core when I turn on the TV and realize that this is reality. These kids are dead tonight. Dead. Can you imagine the appearance tonight? All these people that are pro-gun, all these politicians, the Catholic Church, and all the other organization that is pro-life. Where are you? to help these mothers? Where are you to help these mothers that bring these kids into life? How about you trying to protect the lives that are here? Helping the lives that are here before you worry about the lives that's not being born yet. How about you worry about your wife, your daughter, before you worry about another woman and their right to choose what is right for their body? America is the only country that you have constant shooting back to back to back. And these are by callous kids that were raised in racist, hateful environment. Because there's no way. You look at these kids that commit these crimes and you look at their household, you will not be finding any church-going or loving household. It's either by parents that are just as racist as them, parents that are just discriminating, parents that are exactly like these kids. And then you're going to blame society. No. Your biggest influence is at home. As a parent, your job is to parent a child. It is work, the same way you'd go to work, you're 9 to 5 and work. Having a child is work, or else don't have kids. There are abortions that these people are trying to take away. Get one. Innocent lives. People's lives are being interrupted because you refuse to parent your child. Because you refuse to do your job as a parent and bring kids into this society that will be of benefit to society. Now you have this animal, because that's all I can characterize, a special type of animals, because I have a dog and he's nothing like that. So you have these wild, callous animals that you raise, but these politicians are like, oh no, bring them into this world. Because guess what? It's not about the life that you care about a woman or care about a life. It's more like a power trip. It's more like you're hateful for other people that you decide how can you punish society? How? I just cannot keep stressing how disgusted I am by these constant shooting of lives. And then you have, when George Floyd died, which was the first time I ever got on social media, I never was on social media, never cared to be on social media. That was the first time I actually got on social media, because it's like, you have a lot of YouTubers that they're trying to be politically correct, that they're mum about George Floyd, they're mum about what's going on in this world. But how could you ignore issues like this? Because you're worried about not getting likes, not getting clicks, not getting subscribers. If your focus is solely on you, then I feel for you. And here's the thing. You have COVID. You have natural disaster that seem to be happening every damn day. But the good thing about those things, they don't discriminate. They don't discriminate about your neighborhood. They don't discriminate about where you live. And they don't discriminate how much money you have. So when natural disaster come, it will not be going into black neighborhood. It will not be going into the minorities neighborhood. It's going to attack every single one of us, including virus. And guess what? There's a lot more virus and natural disasters to come. Because as human beings, first of all, I look how humans treat animals. And I'm thinking, you treat animals that way, but then you're worried about natural disaster that might, blow your roof off. It's called karma. Whatever you put out in this world is often what you will get back. And again, all these politicians, the Catholic Church that is so pro-life, that you're not even paying attention to the kids that are here, that are alive, that are living, that are suffering, that are hungry, that are in foster care. You're not even paying attention to them to say, let me help these kids. Help the ones that are alive now, before you're worried about the one that's not yet being conceived. You're not doing anything. You're not. Again, how much money, how many millions, and how many seconds did it take to raise millions for the Notre Dame that was burned down? And then you said you're preaching God's words. You don't need a fancy church. You don't need a fancy building to preach God's words. Like I said, Jesus Christ was on foot, because you need to blend in with everyone for everyone to get the message across. If you're up here If you're up here and you're trying to send a message down here, no one is going to relate. Your message is useless if no one can relate to your message. Useless if no one can relate to your message. I'm talking about this and I'm almost close to tears because I just cannot picture. I can just only imagine the fear on these kids' face when the first bullet hit the first innocent child, then the second one, the third one, all the way to 14, and the teacher. Blood splattered all over. Is this too gross for social media? I hope it is. And then when these gunmen start going into these politicians' homes, their kids' school, then maybe, just maybe you will care about other people's life. Just maybe you'll care about other people's kids. Just maybe you will do the job that you take an oath to do. Just maybe. It's amazing how human beings have become callous, selfless, inhumane, don't give a damn about anyone but me and money. You are driven by money. How do you live? How do you sleep at night when money is your aim? Money is your goal. Money is your God. Money is the only thing that you see. How? They've been spending months trying to reverse Roe V Wade. Something that women fought so hard to get. Because at the end of the day, it's my choice. It's my right, what I do with my body. But now, you have these politicians that said, no, it's not, how, the way America is going, you're calling Russia a communist country. But you're slowly heading there. With all these politicians, with all these rules, with all these laws, you're slowly creeping up to be the same. It starts with women's rights. Then it's going to start with you telling me what I can't do. The lady that got shot, oh my God, I just remember her name and I totally forgot. The Palestinian American lady that reported that got shot because she was exposing what was happening in her country. That was her right being taken away. And then you're criticizing other countries. There's no other country in the world that you have shooting back to back. It's not even a week ago that so many lives were taken in Buffalo. And yet, another elementary school shooting, innocent kids. It is getting dark outside. The sun already left. I cannot picture those parents right now sitting around their table or in the sofa weeping because their child did not come home. But then you have politicians that said, oh, let's throw more gun in the air. Let's throw more gun out there. Let's arm teachers with guns. Because guess what? Your child is not going to school to learn. Your child is going in a war zone. So you're going to see guns on your child's teacher's body, principal body. It's going to be guns all over you. A war zone. A war zone. And then the child is supposed to pay attention and not grow up to be violent, because you are your environment. So when you send a child to school that they're surrounded by gun, guess what's going to happen? You become your environment. They're going to start thinking about guns. They're going to be curious about guns. And guess what's going to go through their mind? And then you're the same one that worried about the violence on social media, on TV, but then you're sending your kids out there. You want to send your kids out there with guns strapped to your teachers, principal, or whoever. I am so utterly disgusted by all these politicians. And this is my choice. This is what I chose to do. This is what I will be doing. I will not participate in any single vote ever again. And it's hard to say never. They said never say never, and I try to live by that word, never say never. But guess what? Never will I be voting for, I don't care who the hell it is. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you have the better, doesn't mean that you're all good. I have yet to see one politician that I can say, yep, he's 100% for the people, he's good, he's doing. No, not one. Because everyone is driven by money and power. Money and power. I just cannot get over another shooting. And then you're going to have a lot of YouTubers that's going to stay away from this topic. But guess what? You're living in this world. It is in front of you. So use your platform to do good. Stop worrying about clicks and likes and what's in my bag, and try to get 1 million subscribers so you could get $1 million, so you could buy your Hermes bag, or so you could buy this posh car, or so you could do this, could do that. Because guess what? The same way Kevin Samuel died, you don't know when your day is going to come. You don't know when your hour is going to come. So the best you can do in this world is to try to have empathy, sympathy, and try to treat people. Try to visualize people the way you want to be treated. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Let money not lead you. Let power not lead you. I am so disgusted. I am so utterly gross at these people, these politicians that says they went to school. What school? Which school? We know one politician that didn't graduate because his grade, they're all F, but because he had money, guess what? He got a degree or a certificate, whatever it is. So and here's the thing with education. Here's the thing with getting a degree. I remember I took microbiology 3 times. I passed on the 3rd time with a damn C. 3 times I took that class. Don't ask me what the hell I know from microbiology, because the answer is 0. I just study and cram stuff in to pass the class. I know nothing about microbiology. They have these little molecules or whatever that they all look the same. Don't ask me anything. So a lot of people with degrees, that's what happened. You cram stuff to get a certificate, or your parents bought it. Doesn't mean you're educated. Doesn't mean you're intelligent. Which is exactly why education and intelligence, they're not the same. They don't go hands in hands. You could have a master's degree and yet you're dumb as shit. You have 0 intelligence. So, I never thought I'd do a video that I'll be ranting, but I am just so disgusted. And I'm supposed to go to work now. All night I'm going to be picturing these kids' face when they see the bullet coming at them. The blood of the first kid and the 10th kid watching, that was his time is next. This video is long enough, so let me stop rambling, because I never thought I'd do a video that I'd be rambling. But there might be plenty more, because I thought I could ignore certain things. I can't. If we live in this world, like, you can't ignore stuff. You have a world that you have an oath, you have an obligation to take care of. You have a planet, you have this beautiful planet that you have to take care of, and people is part of that planet. I never quite understand parents that voted for certain politician that is all about racism, that is all about hate, but yet you have kids that you leave in this world behind. How do you explain loving your kids and then you not give a damn about the world that you're leaving behind for them? Because guess what? Black people are not going anywhere. Minorities are not going anywhere. So when you're raising your kids to be racist, when you're raising them to be hateful, it's just going to be a cycle, an ongoing cycle, because you're not going to wipe out certain people off the face of this earth. It's just never going to happen. Treat people, respect people the way you want to be treated. Love people the way you want to be treated. And every single kids, and while I'm at it, animals as well, lives are innocent. Protect it the way you protect yours, kids. Protect their lives the way you protect your kids.